Hey guys, Reece here with Trusted Companies, and we are back at our duplex renovation down to the studs, doing a little bit of a status update, and quite a bit has changed since we were here last. So in the last video, as far as I remember, we were in the midst of demoing the entire property, taking it from plaster down to the studs, getting rid of all the old electric, all the old plumbing, and essentially giving us a clean slate to go all new. You know, we're adding a half bath to this property, so it's going to be 3 bedrooms, 1.5 bathroom, and then we are renovating the entire property. This is a permitted project, so we have to do structural repairs, we have to do plumbing, electric, HVAC, insulation, all new drywall. A couple of the walls are firewalls. That's something in Columbus we have to deal with, likely in your part of the country and world as well. You have to do something similar. And so today, I'm going to showcase what's been done. A lot has been done that I haven't been filming, just been busy trying to buy a few more properties before the end of the year. So hopefully I can do some videos on those in the future. But let's dig into it. So if you guys remember, this unit was tenant occupied in really rough shape, and we were in the midst of demoing it in the last video, taking all the plaster down, getting rid of all the electric, you know, all the old plumbing. And since then, you can see there's some HVAC installed. All the plumbing is done and the rough is passed. We've done most of the framing. There's going to be some blocking for drywall, some we're going to do strapping on the ceiling. We framed in the half bathroom. This is our half bathroom. Half bathrooms add quite a bit of, maybe not rental value, but they do make renting the property quite a bit easier. People really love to see that half bathroom. So that half bathroom's real nice to have. All the plumbing's in, our laundry, our framed in stackable laundry units. We add those wherever we can, upstairs if possible. So a lot of rentals have them in the basement, but here in Columbus, the basements are, you know, this one's not too bad, but they're usually pretty short, you know, 5 or 6 feet tall. They get a little bit wet down there. And it's just, you know, cold, damp, not that enjoyable. So having it upstairs really is nice. Heading upstairs, you can see the property is very nicely cleaned out. We try and keep things pretty nice and clean. Obviously, it is a construction site. There is going to be some level of dirt, debris, material, but try and keep it real clean because that paints a picture for our subcontractors of what we are expecting. They clean up after themselves more often and leave the job site nice. This is our full bathroom. We rotated the tub to put it against the back wall, and we removed the window. I do that on all rentals. You could have a window. It would need to be tempered glass in my jurisdiction, but I don't like to have it. If we do a tub surround, you have to cut into the tub surround and try and seal that tub surround. If you do tile, you just need to make sure it's waterproofed. In this case, we're doing tile. And in order to make everything work out with the staircase below, we did have to fur out the bathroom quite a bit. So we've got, you know, a big gap here. It would have been a really deep window well. It just didn't really make sense for us. We have a nice little seat here because the bathroom's actually 7 feet wide instead of it's 6 feet wide instead of 5. So we have a little seat there. We're going to tile all of that. Going to have a big vanity, about a 36-inch over here. A lot of room for the toilet over there. Both sides are about the same stage here. We should have HVAC finished up by this coming weekend. Filming this on a Monday before Christmas. So, what is that? 23rd. The electrician's starting end of the week. They should be done through the weekend as well. So hopefully by this week we will be done with all of our rough MEPs. So we are about 2 months into the project. However, we did have to wait quite a while to get into the tenant-occupied unit. I don't know if I showed this in one of the prior videos, but we did frame out all of the closets. These old closets used to be only like 12 inches or 8 inches deep. I'm not sure what they were hanging in there, but we make them 2 feet deep, so that way they are usable, or they are functional closets. Did the same in this one over here. We're now in the second side, by the way, if you couldn't tell I jumped through the wall there. So frame out this closet a little bit, just give usable space, more storage space. It's good for these properties to have a lot of storage because tenants move their stuff in and then they don't really want to move out. You know, you move in all your stuff as long as you have a good property manager, the property is safe, clean. You know, people want to stay. You can see this bathroom, we have to do a little something different. So this is one of the firewalls because we're within 5 feet of a property line. So because the tub goes in during rough plumbing, we need to actually insulate and firewall the wall behind it because we won't be able to do it later. So we just take videos and pictures for the inspector so that he will see that we actually insulated it. And he can see the framing, all the structural components if there's any back there, because he will need to see that during the framing inspection, which comes after all your MEPs here in Columbus. So renovating a 100-year-old home, this might be between 100 and 120 years old. You are going to come across some problems. I'm a licensed general contractor here in Franklin County. However, I'm still relatively newer at it. You know, I don't do this for other clients, so I've renovated a lot of homes, but they're all my own properties, right? So I'm learning as I go as well. And there's going to be things you run into as you renovate. So let's dig into a few of them here. So one that we came across when doing our plumbing is plumbing ran into pre-existing floor joists. So we don't have much control over this because we didn't do the initial framing of the property. It's a 100-year-old home, but we want our plumbing to be where it is, and so we had to cut that. We had to do it on both sides to allow that to go through, and then we had to sister or put another floor joist next to it. For any of you contractors out there, if you're looking at this and says, you know, I did something wrong, that's fine. The framing inspection will call that out, but I think we did it okay. The other issue is the plumbers really didn't want to run the plumbing in our dividing common wall, which is also our like firewall. I just don't know enough. They did end up running some, which was perplexing. I don't know why we did that, but everything needs to be sealed. So all of this is going to need to be sealed for our firewall, and they didn't want to run the big main drain in it. So instead, they had to drop it down below the ceiling, which unfortunately means we're going to have to do, we're going to have to box this out because this is below our finished ceiling. So we're going to do a little box and then a little 45 up to the ceiling to kind of make it blend in a little bit. But that was a little bit unfortunate because they could have just ran it all the way through into the center wall and then down. But the plumbers I worked with were very nice and pretty good, so I assume they know what they're doing. But once again, I am kind of taking their word for it, their expertise, as I'm not really that educated on plumbing, electrical, HVAC, and what the code requires, right? Another issue we ran into, which all of these are pretty minor issues, and it's not like they're things I could have prevented, but some of it is just finding it out as you go. However, not necessarily 100% my fault, but I had the plumbers come in before the HVAC. I had HVAC scheduled first, they just kept delaying. And And ideally, HVAC would have come in first because they need a lot more. There's a lot less flexibility with where you put your ductwork. And then plumbing and electrical, they can kind of work around most of it, right? So some of the issues we had in relation to that, we had these sections. This is our firewall back here. And then we built another wall where they could run their ductwork through. Well, initially, the plumbers had ran their plumbing through here. Even though I told them not to, it's just, you know, they've got multiple people doing the plumbing and they forget. And so they had to cut the plumbing out of there and reroute it because this is really the only place to run a vent for upstairs. I think if we come down here as well, actually let's go in the other basement, you'll see our laundry drains, they ran right where we can only run our ductwork as well. So I guess the key takeaway here is that, you know, your HVAC comes first. You know, post rough inspection, we actually had to chop one of the drains, which is not ideal, but they're going to fix that during the finish. But that's because we're sending our supply run right where it's going. So they're going to have to move this, you know, over left or right. But essentially the lesson learned here is that, you know, your rough HVAC really needs to come first because you see how big the ductwork is. You know, they can't really, they need to put this wherever it fits. They're not too flexible. So coordinate your scheduling a little bit better, have a little bit of flexibility in the timeline, and have your HVAC first, ideally, then your plumbing, then your electrical, because your electrical can pretty much go anywhere for the most part. You know, the wires can go anywhere. So that was mistake, not necessarily mistake, but just inconvenience number 2 was the scheduling of the subcontractors. So final, not really a mistake, just an oversight, is the budget so far. So I think we're going to be on budget because I'm coming in under on a lot of items. A lot of the subcontractors, my electrical came in a little bit under. We don't have to replace electrical panels like I thought. But essentially underestimating severely how much demo and framing was going to take. Now, I do a lot of that stuff in-house, which may have been a mistake as well. I was talking to some people local, and they said I just spent way too much on demo. I don't have the exact number right now. I'll review that in the like the budget video. But demo came out to be about twice as much as I budgeted. I think I budgeted like $6 grand maybe. I don't know. That sounds pretty cheap. And I think it came out to be like 12 or something. That's including dumpsters, the labor, things like that. I also budgeted way too little for framing because what I didn't realize is for lath and plaster homes, which this home is, there's a lot of stuff you need to do. It's also balloon framed, which you guys can look up what that is, but older homes were done like that here. There's a lot of framing you need to do. So for example, all of our windows, which the windows are being replaced, but all of our windows aren't actually held in by anything except the trim on the outside. Oops, sorry, bad videography. And this trim had lath going into it that was like nailed tight, and that's all that was really holding the window. So now some of our windows are completely loose. This one's still okay, but all of these windows require 2x4s put on either side to provide some strength so that when the window people come in, and I could have paid the window contractors to do this, but it was just more expensive, so we're going to do it. But so when the window contractors come in, they have something to actually like mount their window into. Because this is balloon framed, you don't have like a tight like rough window framing that you would. Maybe because it's balloon frame, maybe because it was just lath and plaster, they didn't do it that way. But in a modern home, you wouldn't have this issue, and I didn't budget for that, but you have that issue in these older homes. A few other things I just didn't budget enough for, you know, our subfloor was in really rough shape in one unit, not the other. And so you'll see like we did this 1/4 inch OSB over top. Well, a couple issues with this is that the contractors butt all the seams together tight. And so now when we turn the heat on, they're all kind of like buckling, which is a stupid mistake. And we can fix it relatively easily. It's just more time and money to do so, right? The other floor on the other side is not awful. We're just going to patch that. This is our preparation for our finished flooring. But all of these little things you don't budget for just really add up. We had to do a lot of structural repairs. We had to move floor joists for plumbing. We had to just do a lot that added up. So I think we're maybe 3 or 4 times over the budget for framing, just because of misunderstanding what it took on an old property like this. But thankfully, you know, we have the contingency budgeted in, so that's really important. And we also have other areas where we're coming under budget. Electrical's under budget. I think plumbing's a little bit under budget. HVAC's on budget, so we're pretty good there. So we'll see how that all plays out in the end, and I'll dig into my numbers more on another video to kind of show where we're at. That's what I have for you guys today. So project is rolling along. I think we probably have another 2 months left on it. I'd love to get this done in 4 months. And we'll see where it goes from there. So I will check in with you guys after the holidays. Hopefully we'll have all of our mechanical, electrical, plumbing done and passed permits, so we can start working on our insulation and firewalls and eventually drywall. Thanks so much, guys. I'll talk to you later. Bye.